From the rolling grasslands of the savannah, the icy tops of Mount Kenya, the man-eaters of Tsavo, and the sweet, sweet waters of Nolturash, Kajiado South. This is Malik's Rhapsody. Karibuni.
This is Malik's Rhapsody.
Episode 3. I was under so much pressure to change the topic. I was under so much, guys are calling me and asking me, why are you focusing on the issue of tribe? Why are you focusing on tribalism? What's your problem with those two things? And I said, listen, tribe is a beautiful thing and is a wonderful thing. And a case in point, look at last weekend, the past week, there has been some awesome celebrations, cultural celebrations. There was one in Machakos by the Kamba community, and they had a nice time celebrating their culture and dances and food and music, and everything. And whether you are Kamba or not, you look at the clips that are circulating on social media, you would have loved to be there, and that is Kamba. Let's go back and look also at a ceremony that also a function that happened somewhere, I think in Limuru, called Ngemi by the Agikuyu community, and it was hosted, it was meant, and actually supposed to be celebrated by a Kikuyu community. But the beauty about these cultural celebrations, the beautiful thing about it is the doors are not locked to anyone. It does not discriminate anyone. There's so many people who do not understand, say, the Luo, but they love the music, me being one of them. I love Hangla and all the rest, and I could listen to it in like a journey of 8 hours. And it's the same way we listen to Rumba. Sometimes we don't understand anything. And the other day I was made to laugh when somebody sent me the translation of one of the most beautiful Rumba songs, iconic songs that I've listened to for many years. And guess what? The song was all about a car dealership, and the musician is singing in praise of that particular car dealership and a particular vehicle from France, And then here we are all thinking that the song is all romance and everything, only for you to realize that it's an advertisement. It's a jingle. The whole song is a jingle. Very interesting. So I was talking about Ngemi, and also we looked at the clips that emanated from there, and you could see a lot of people asking, when was this done? Why were we not made aware? And what made it beautiful when I looked at it is that the music, both modern music, Kikuyu music, and the iconic songs that have been played for years and years since long time ago, and the music was beautiful, and you could see the young people there. Most were, I think, millennials coming down to Gen Zs, and they were very happy and excited. They were singing along, and you didn't have to be Kikuyu to enjoy that. And I said, wait a minute. I looked at both these two events and looked at this one, looked at that one, and I said, there's something pretty, there's something nice about, there's something unique about these two events. And what was it? Guess what? There were no politicians. Nobody came to speak about this person and that person. It was all music from A to B. At least for the one from Gemia, I'm sure about it. It was all music from point A to point B. Who are the stars of those functions? Those two functions. The function I watched, it is the musicians who are the stars. It's the musicians that were put in front. It is the musicians who are given an opportunity to sell their craft, to trade in their craft, and to make some money for themselves and also for the organizers. Good job. And I said, so long as these events do not have any political backing, then they remain very unique heritage and a celebration of culture of this country. And so I answered the question and I said, belonging to a tribe is a beautiful thing. I didn't fight that. It's a beautiful thing. Each and every tribe, the 47 plus tribes has something, 42 plus has something to offer, The other day we reminded ourselves that Tanzania has over 120 tribes, different ethnic identities. But how have they overcome the challenges? How have they overcome the temptations to divide and to fight and to separate? And we reminded ourselves also that we look at the founding father, Mwalimu Kabarage, Julius Nyerere, and his socialism sort of leaning towards, Utu, Utu being together, umoja wa watu, Ubuntu, so to speak, and Ujamaa, the idea of I am because you are. And that is what has kept Tanzania together for this time, for this long. Rarely do you ever hear there's ethnic fights, there's political ethnic fights. You see the way they get to coalesce around, even their politics is done around the main big political parties. Yes, their democracy is still young. Yes, they're still struggling here and there, but it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. A friend of mine who has been in Rwanda for so long told me that the last thing or the worst thing you'd ever do if you were to step into Rwanda is to ask a taxi driver, what tribe are you? I'm told the police will be called on you. Why? Because of the history they have. The 1994 genocide was not anything anyone would wish to see in their country. It was terrible. And to imagine that a whole country can burn just because of two ethnic identities. These are the Hutu and these are the Tutsis. The Hutu and the Tutsis. And you know, the worst part about it is that the ones who are killing the others would just need to look at the shape of your nose, shape of your face, and decide you're this and kill you. And people who have never, you know, seen blood spilling out for because of ethnic acrimony, then are the first people you'll find in social media, you'll find in every other platforms to spew a lot of hatred. You see a lot of political leaders standing and, you know, making statements that are completely out of order, completely out of line. And you know, for what? For popularism. For what? For votes. For what? To intimidate the other people. Man, I tell you, then I think we really need to up our fights when it comes to issues to do with differing, because why should I pick on your tribe to be the one thing that differentiates me from you? You know, how comes fights about resources always take tribe angles? You know, look at South Africa. Look at these other countries. Look at, you know, there's no place that tribalism has ever brought in any progress. You know, and when I mention South Africa, meaning now it goes from tribalism goes now to racism. You know, where the color of your skin then determines how I get to treat you. Back to our country here, 47 counties, the boundaries were split, a lot of public participation was done, and people feel that the splitting of the 47 counties along ethnic, tribal identities might not have been a good thing. I don't know what you think. This is an interactive show. Malik's Rhapsody, as again we said, a rhapsody is an unstructured form of art. We could come here and talk about anything else. I choose to talk about this country. I choose to talk about Kenya. I choose to talk about the different identities that we have. I choose to talk about tribe because tribe is a beautiful thing. Belonging to a particular ethnic identity is a beautiful thing. But using that identity and togetherness of that identity to discriminate, you know, to build walls between yourselves and others, to dispossess others of what is rightfully theirs, and that's what we call tribalism, and we say that is wrong. And today, I'm very glad and excited to introduce to you something that was used previously for a campaign against some health issue, a very, very huge thing that was used in the campaign and the management of the HIV/AIDS. Now we use it, VCT, and I say, ladies and gentlemen, today, I look at you straight in the eye. I point a finger at you and I point three at me. And we ask ourselves, VCT, voluntary check on tribalism. Are you a tribalist? Are you a tribalist? Maybe you're sitting there watching and saying, well, this is for those people who, you know, these are for the politicians. This is for those who are vying for seats, are the ones who should be told to check on their tribalism. You and I, each and every individual Kenyan, needs to take a test that we call the voluntary check on tribalism. How do you tell you're a tribalist? If in your mind, in your thinking, in your natural language that runs your brain, if it is geared mainly to stereotypically look at others from the tribal angle, then you're a tribalist. If the first thing you walk in and the first thing you want to determine and differentiate the people by their tribes, you know, you look at me and say, well, this guy, ako hivi, this one must be from Western. Huyu ako hivi, this one must be from Northeastern. Huyu ako hivi, huyu must be from the other place. You know, some of these things, it is, we have been cultured as a country, which is not necessarily a very good thing. To walk into a place and immediately You start, judging people, identifying people and placing them, containerizing them. And if you do that, if you find yourself walking in, not with an open mind of wanting to know these are people, these are human beings, these are Kenyans, we are here to talk about one of three things. If the first thing you look at me when I speak is you say, your mind is telling you, what is this guy? What is this Kikuyu guy telling us? What is this Kamba guy telling us? What is this Kalenjin guy telling us? Then you're a tribalist. If you refuse to form a community of neighbors or a community of friends purely because those friends do not belong to your tribe, you're a tribalist. Even in your places of worship, if you find yourself, say for example, you're asked by the person leading you, that can this group divide into groups for maybe group work or something like that, and you find yourself 99%, 90 out of 10, all the time, you want to, move towards people of your tribe, people you can speak the same mother tongue. You're a tribalist. You have gone for a seminar. A seminar is talking about any topic under the sun. It could be issues to do with health. It could be agriculture. It could be engineering. It could be anything. Social cohesion. It could be anything about this country. But you walk in here, and after introductions, the first thing you do is mark where your tribesmen and ladies are seated. Then you're a tribalist. When you're asked, okay, now let's form groups, let's sit together, let's mingle, and let's work on this, you find a whole group. Not necessarily. If you're from the same county, some conferences require that you sit in as per your counties. But where you're asked to sit with everyone else, and you only find yourself comfortable with people you can speak with a similar language, you're a tribalist. If you're in a position of power, you're in a position to share resources, you're in a position where you come across opportunities that you can distribute to deserving Kenyans. If the first phone calls you make, the first few phone calls you make are calling your friends to forward the sons and daughters' names, and you're only calling people from your tribe, you're a tribalist. You don't care about the credentials. You only care that our team wins. Which team is this? Voluntary check on tribalism. Am I a tribalist? Nobody is immune from tribalism. Nobody. From the president to down here. Nobody is immune to tribalism. Even in our places of worship, the churches and the mosques and the synagogues and every other places and traditionalists where they convene to pray. Nobody is immune to tribalism. And that's why it's important that we run this voluntary check on tribalism and ask ourselves, so that before you rid yourself of tribalism, then you need first to accept that you're a tribalist. And the only way we are going to finish tribalism in this country is then to replace it with nationalism. But who is ready? Who amongst us is ready? Who is ready to get opportunities to distribute, and in a very, very leader-like manner, distribute those opportunities fairly? It is not wrong to give to people from your tribe. Do not discriminate them also. But let us see some fairness in how you distribute the opportunities that come across your way by virtue of your office, by virtue of the positions that you have been given, by you being the chair of this and the secretary of that. How do you distribute opportunities? How? Voluntary check on tribalism. VCT. Am I a tribalist? Are you a tribalist? Tell me what you think. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This is Malik's Rhapsody, episode 3. Voluntary check on tribalism. Asante sana.